Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and we've got a packed show on tap for you today with some of the top Texans storylines going on around the Twitterverse, around, Facebook, online, all these online forums. This is a lot of the stuff that I've been hearing. First off, is it put up or shut up time for CJ Stroud? Is his honeymoon phase over with the Houston Texans? Number two, is Caserio, Nick Cacerio, our GM, setting up for a big trade? Possibly. And then lastly, is the Rams game the wake-up call this team needed? We'll talk about all this on today's program, but don't jinx it. If you want the Texans to get their first win of the season on Monday Night Football, go down and like the video. Hey, you don't want to be that guy after the game on Tuesday being like, damn, what if I liked the video? All I had to do was hit that thumbs up icon that weird guy on YouTube told me to do. Maybe they would have won. You'll never know. But I do know when you put good energy out, you get good energy back. So let's put the good energy out for our Houston Texans. Go out and hit that thumbs up icon. Like the video for a dub in week 2. Now, if you're new to the program, this is how we kind of break down a lot of the rumors and stories that we talk about on Texans Today. I use my Toro Heads rumor meter. So if I give something 0 heads or fake news, that means it's not happening. It's total BS. If I give something 4 Toro heads, well, H-Town, hold it down. It is going down. And then obviously in between, it's kind of that meter that you see from 1, 2, 3, and 4 Toro heads. So let's get started today with our first story on tap. Is it put up or shut up time for CJ Stroud? I'm only going to give this one Toro head. I do think he does need to look in the mirror a little bit and say, hey, what do I need to do to get myself better? And not only myself, but my teammates around him better. Because if you've been on X, if you've been on, Facebook, Instagram, anything over the past, I would say week, especially after the Rams game, you've probably been seeing a lot of this. DJ Bieniemy, the ESPN reporter for the Houston Texans, he said this: is CJ Stroud losing the benefit of the doubt from this fan base? And then Will Kunkel, another guy who covers Houston sports, he replied, yes, it's time for results. Not to that tweet, but it was a tweet kind of referencing, is the CJ Stroud honeymoon phase over? Is it time for him to pay the piper? So you see a lot of people coming out saying, CJ Stroud, it's put up or shut up time. We're done with it. Now, I think 2 things can be true. I think Stroud needs to take control of this offense, be a leader, be a little bit better. But also, it's a brand new offensive coordinator. You have basically, 4 new starting offensive linemen up front. And it's tough. It's not going to be a instant fix. Things are getting going. Everything's going to be fixed and we're all, fine and dandy. I had Cecil Shorts III, a former Texans player, on the show over the summer, and we had a really good conversation. I messaged with him back and forth from time to time, and I really liked what he tweeted after that Texans game. He said this: the offense takes time, new OC, new system. They all are learning. Everything will not be fixed with the Texans offense right away. Give it time before you all claim anything. Having no patience at all is crazy. If the offense is like this midseason, I get it. But give it time. Offense needs more work, but it's not panic time. Relax, Texans fans. The offense needs its rhythm. And I agree with that. The offense, it's going to take a little bit of time, and maybe, they are going to have some growing pains with so many new moving parts. But also, to blame CJ Stroud for all of this is kind of ludicrous. Because when you look at the numbers a little bit deeply, and another great follow on Texans Twitter is at Texans Jacob. I really recommend that you give him a follow over there on X. I think these stats show a lot of what CJ Stroud did really well in that week 1 game up against the Rams. 85.2% catchable throws. That's second best amongst quarterbacks in the NFL. 11.1 off-target throw rate, 7th best. 7.4 hero play rate, 6th best. I don't really know that stat as well, so I guess that's good. And then 0.0 turnover-worthy play percentage. I don't really get that as much because he did throw 1 interception, but it was a catch by Jaden Higgins that was then taken away by the Rams defender. So I really do think, regardless of what you think around CJ Stroud, he also handled the pressure very well. 42% pressure rate in week 1 for CJ Stroud. And he actually did pretty well against the pressure. He had a couple of sacks that he took, but besides that, was not bad. He threw a lot of really good balls whenever he was getting pressure right up in his face. Didn't have a lot of time. Maybe held on to the ball a little too long. But I still believe in C.J. Stroud. I believe in our quarterback, the franchise, the wheeling, dealing, gun-slinging guy wearing number 7 for your Houston Texans. I believe in C.J. Stroud. And I will say this. I get people have their doubts. I get people have their criticisms. And, you'll say, whatever he did off the field. And we don't like his demeanor. We don't like this and that about C.J. Stroud. At the end of the day, he's a talented quarterback. And I guarantee you, over half the league right now would give a ransom, a king's bounty to trade for this guy right here. I know that for a fact because I've had multiple other fans reach out to me and say, if the Texans don't want him, we will trade for C.J. Stroud right now. And I think Texans fans are quick to forget that lull between Deshaun Watson and C.J. Stroud and how bad that was being a Texans fan for those 3-4 years. We had guys that were just awful. Just awful. I mean, Davis Mills, he's not a horrible quarterback, but he's not a great starter. We've seen guys, and before Deshaun Watson too, we saw guys like Brian Hoyer, for God's sake, Tom Savage. We've had some bad quarterbacks for this Houston Texans franchise, and C.J. Stroud is not one of them. So I'll ask you folks this right now. Do you believe in C.J. Stroud as our franchise quarterback? Simple question. It's a yes or no. Give me a yes. Give me a no. Do you believe in C.J. Stroud? He's the franchise guy. You feel comfortable with this team giving him a contract extension next offseason? Let me know down in the comments. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with the YouTube ad break, all good. Scroll on down and give me your answer. Next up, Nick Caserio. Is he setting up for a big trade? We'll talk about this in just a moment. But first, a word from our sponsor, Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. I love Prize Picks. Hey, look at this. Even Drewski, he loves Prize Picks as well, and I know you will too. Get started today with our sponsor. You and I make decisions every day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Super simple. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. And this is my lineup that I have rolling in for Monday night. Bucky Irving. Give me the less on his rushing yards. I think this Texans defense is going to swarm C.J. Stroud, hopefully. Like I said, I believe in him as the franchise. Hopefully, he can get more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Riley Dixon, the Bucs punter, I'm hoping he gets more than 3.5 punts. And Tommy Townsend, the Texans punter, I hope he gets less than 3.5 punts. You can use this lineup or go make your own. Just do it over with our friends over at Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, let's talk about this. Could Nick Caserio be setting up for a trade? I'm actually going to give this one 2 Toro heads, and I'm saying people are talking. I think it's somewhat likely that we could see another trade for this Texans team. And you're probably wondering, Chuggs, what in the world are you even talking about? All right, stick with me here. First, let's talk about the news. Houston Texans and Tommy Togiai agree to a 1-year extension worth up to $3.3 million. And you're probably wondering, okay, Jeremy, what does this have to do with the Texans if they're extending Tommy Togiai? What does this have to do with, anything around them trading anybody? Well, very interesting. Tommy Togiai was a healthy scratch for the Texans in week 1. One of the Texans inactives. Did not play. So you're telling me a guy that is the 5th defensive tackle on our team did not play. I know he's young. He's 25 years old. They're going to give that guy an extension? Doesn't quite add up to me. And whenever I look at this Texans defensive line, we have a lot of talent. We are flooded with talent along this Texans front. Not only at defensive end, but defensive tackle as well. There's a lot of solid guys. Mario Edwards Jr., Sheldon Rankins, Tim Settle, Foley Fudakasi, Tommy Togai, who just got that extension. And then, we also have Demeco Autry on IR, who could be coming or should be coming back after week 4. The Texans have a ton of talent along the defensive line. And some expiring contracts as well. Foley Fudakasi is only on a 1-year deal. Sheldon Rankins only on a 1-year deal. Tim Settle Jr., somebody who maybe should have gotten an extension over Tommy Togai after how he played last year. He's on the final year of his deal as well. So as I look at, the Texans, could they kind of set themselves up to use one of these defensive tackles as a trade piece as we get closer to the NFL trade deadline? And as I'm looking at my Texans' top needs on their team, there's 3 glaring ones right here. You need offensive line help. Secondly, you need offensive line help. And then lastly, I would say that you probably need some offensive line help. So could they at some point say, hey, anybody who has a good interior defensive lineman or good interior offensive lineman and needs D-line help, maybe we get a little swap there. We can send maybe one of these 3 guys that I'm going to show you on screen right now, possibly to get some interior offensive line help. Out of these 3 guys, though, let me know, who do you think is the most likely to get traded? Because all these guys, like I said, on 1-year contracts. Do you think it's Tim Settle Jr., Demeco Autry, or Foley Fudakasi? Let me know down in the comment section, because that was the first thing that came to my mind after the extension for Tommy Togai is, how does this kind of work with what the Texans' plan is moving forward? All right, lastly, Rams, that game, week 1. Is that the wake-up call that this team needed? I'm going to give this one 4 Toro heads. H-Town, hold it down, because I for one, I'm tired of the Texans kind of viewed as a cakewalk. Everybody says, oh, well, the Texans have the easiest division. Oh, well, the Texans, they play in the AFC South, so of course they're going to win the division. And I don't know this for a fact, but the way they played on Sunday in week 1 up against the Rams, it makes me think that a lot of that, thought, a lot of that talk is seeping into this locker room. Because you put up a absolute just horrible game. 9 points on offense. The Rams, I know the defense only allowed 14 points. It was an ugly game. But the Rams, they were driving at the end of the game. And the offense for the Rams looked like it was a lot easier moving on the Texans defense than the Texans offense moving on the Rams defense. And whenever I show you these numbers for the Texans offense in week 1, ugly. Absolutely ugly. 164 total yards, 23 carries for 78 yards, 2 turnovers, and that time of possession, 29.07, which actually I do think it's only 1 interception there. Maybe a little miscalculation from our graphic system right there, but it's all good. Because the bottom line is this. 2 teams in the AFC South, they won in week 1. The Colts absolutely put it on the Miami Dolphins, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars beat down on the Carolina Panthers. So you're looking at this Texans team, you're suddenly at the bottom of your division. I know it's only week 1, but the Texans can't have the mindset that it's going to be a cakewalk this year because, 1, you won the division 2 years in a row. Those other 3 teams are hungry. And then 2, you're playing a first-place schedule. So you're going to play tougher competition throughout the entire season. So you can't have that mindset that, it's going to be easy. Oh, we'll be able to do this, that, or the other. And, just kind of easily get into the playoffs. This is the NFL. Nothing comes easy. And that starts right now with this week 2 matchup. We will be live for week 2 up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll be live an hour before kickoff. So make sure to join us here on the channel. Hit that subscribe button and join us for our week 2 watch party as the Texans take on the Bucs on Monday Night Football.